It is so good to be here together. Hine Ma Tov is on page 4. Would you please join us?
Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine Ma Tov u'manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
Okay, so welcome everybody to our digital viewers. Welcome, Shabbat Shalom. For the folks who are in the sanctuary, let's hear you. Shabbat Shalom. Okay, that was like a 4 out of 10. Let's try it again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Much better. Okay, Marcus family, let's hear you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Pretty good. Everybody else, Shabbat Shalom. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. We want to thank everyone for being here, not just for a Shachri Shabbat morning service, but also for Annie Marcus's bat mitzvah, which is a wonderful way to start a day, and not just that, but to celebrate being in a community. I'm Rabbi Spike Anderson. Next to me is Rabbi Rachel Miller, and in the congregation is Rabbi Scott Colbert. Rabbi Colbert, just wave a hand. There you go. Wonderful. Friends, Mass. We need to have our Mass over our nose and our mouth the whole time that we're in the building. If you need a break with your mask, then feel free to step outside. And just to keep everybody safe, we're really serious about this. So if masks come off, then we do have to stop the service until they go back on. Cell phones, please turn them off, and your Apple Watches, turn them off. We talked about the emergency exits. You can see them with the exit signs. Your red Sidurim underneath your seats. This is a highly participatory service, which means that claps and snaps and stamps and la-la-las are great. God understands la-la-la just fine. And I can't emphasize this enough. The energy that you have, that we have, is going to go right to Annie, and she's going to send it back to us. So if we give her the energy, then the whole room, the sacredness of the whole room seems to elevate. So it's on all of us to participate to the best that we can. There are English readings with italics, and when there are italics, we all join in. And of course, pray to your heart's content. For folks who are here on Facebook, we'd ask you to give a shout out to Annie and just say a Shabbat Shalom. And for folks who are here in the sanctuary, would you turn to the people around you, say, hey, my name is Shabbat Shalom, and let's take a minute and greet each other. Tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Yananai, nananananai. Hinei ma tov, hinei ma tov. Yananai, nananananai. Hinei ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. So Annie, what we're doing today is called a Rite of Passage, okay? And this is a ceremony in one way or another that's been around with the Jewish people for thousands of years. In the next 90 minutes, you are going to be leading us, both from the bima and from your heart, leading us in prayer and service. Now, if we had assigned you to lead a group of little kids, that would be a big deal, because that would mean that we had thought you had great judgment and were an example. And if we tap you to lead a group of your peers, means the same thing, but all the more so. This is even more than that. For the next 90 minutes, you are leading not just the younger kids and not just your peers, but your parents and their friends, your grandparents and their friends, your rabbis, the entire community. You are in charge. You are the leader. And there's a thought that one of the reasons that we Jewish people have been able to do all the things we've been able to do over the millennia is because we empower our 13-year-olds to lead. We give you this opportunity, you take it, and then you come out of it with this incredible confidence and momentum to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. But before we get there, we're here in the sanctuary that your family literally helped build, this place where your family has had their most impressive and poignant spiritual moments. And over the next 90 minutes, you yourself will travel through these. There are signposts along the way from going from being a Jewish girl to a Jewish woman, Shazam, like that in the next 90 minutes. One of those signposts is your tallis. Now, according to tradition, you're not supposed to publicly wear your tallis before your bat mitzvah, meaning last month, last week, even this morning, meaning earlier this morning. But now, we are going to present you with your tallis, which is your adult Jewish clothing, as a sign of your changing social status into a Jewish adult in the eyes of your community. So your great-grandfather, Irving Lipsky, who is going to be 101 tomorrow? Wednesday.
My birthday, too.
And Rabbi Rachel's also going to be 101 on Wednesday. Which is such a big deal that your grandfather is going to present the tallis for you and to you. So Seth and Peggy, if you will bring both the tallis and the standing mic down. Actually, leave the tallis up and have him read. Okay, and this way your grandfather can read, and then you'll come back up, and Annie will read the blessing. This is on page 5.
As this tallit is draped around your shoulders, may the voices of the generations speak to you. May you know that there is a people, a rich heritage to which you belong, a sacred place from which you are connected to all who dwell on earth. As you are embraced in the folds of this tallit, so too are you wrapped in the loving embrace of your family, community, and this holy congregation. May the simplest of garments always be with you, a symbol of God's abiding and sheltering presence. As you recite the blessing and wrap yourself in the tallit, we proudly watch and celebrate with you as you accept your place in the chain of our tradition.
Beautiful.
Congratulations.
And now, Annie, we're going to have you read the blessing for the tallit, which you'll find on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef bat tzitzit.
And we all say amen? Amen. Okay, and so now Mom and Dad are going to drape your tallit around your shoulders and fix your hair. Peggy, get nice and close, because this is a touchy-feely service. This is actually a little weird if you don't do it. All right, Molly, I'm going to ask you to go and join them up there for a moment. Friends, we all know, and this family knows, that families and communities come together for all sorts of reasons. Sometimes those reasons are sad. This one, super happy. Super, super happy. So what we Jews do when we know we're in the midst of a particular type of sacred time, we sing our Shahianu Prayer. Literally, thank you, God, for allowing us to be here together, breathing. May we have this type of holiness, this type of moment again and again and again. So Marcus family, if you'll put your arms around each other up there. Friends, will you join us on Shahianu on page 5?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Shahianu v'kimanu v'hegianu l'zman hazeh.
Seats. And Annie, if you'll lead us on page 6.
Just before you do, though, if we could return that mic back up so we don't have interference yet. Just a logistic. Thank you.
Thanks, Robert Rachel. Whenever you're ready.
God be with me on this occasion of my bat mitzvah. Help me make meaningful the covenant you now establish with me. Sustain me with a sense of holiness. Inspire in me a desire to be special. I do not ask that you make my life easy, resolve my problems, map out the directions of my life. I ask only that you strengthen within me the desire to mold and shape my life in accordance with your will. In this hour of my bat mitzvah, I invoke your blessings upon my parents and friends and all who have loved and cared for me and have brought me to this time of gladness. Give them joy and fulfillment in my growth and my achievement. You who turn the hearts of children to their parents and the hearts of parents to their children.
Beautiful. On page 7, Annie's going to lead us in Nasim B'chol Yom, the daily miracles. This is the prayer which has a list of miracles meant to be taken literally and figuratively. So we have a tribute to God, and then, for instance, who opens the eyes of the blind, meaning people who couldn't see and now can see. That's miraculous, certainly for them. But also figuratively, that sometimes it feels like a miracle or may take a miracle to have people who figuratively can't see, who are blind to what's going on around, be able to see. So this is a list of these daily miracles. We respond to each with an amen, and then I love for all of us to, as we're going through, pick which one of these daily miracles has your name on it, as if I might call on you and ask you to share when she's done. Annie, Nasim B'chol Yom, page 7.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasech vivina lev havhin ben yom uvein laila.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach ivrim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sokef kefufim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam rokah haaretz al hamayim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamehin mitzadei gaver.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten leyaev koach.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hama'avir shena me'enai utnuma me'afapai.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani b'tselem Elohim.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani bat horin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'esani Yisrael.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam ozer Yisrael b'gvura.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Olam, Oter Yisrael Betifara.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen. Okay, take a moment, if you will, and look back on what we just read and see which one of those has your name on it, which one is speaking to you, and why. Take a moment. Anybody want to share? Which one of those has your name on it this morning? Which one of those is most speaking to you? Okay, I'm going to play Donahue. I like your socks there, Don. Should be on. Let me see.
Blessed are you, the eternal God, who has made me a Jew.
And why is it speaking to you this morning?
I'm very proud to be a Jew.
Yeah.
I cherish our heritage.
Yeah, wonderful. Others, which one is speaking to you? Which one of these is speaking to you this morning? Anybody want to share? We could just sit in awkward silence. Rabbi Culver, please, thank you. Here he goes.
Amechim Tzadei Gaver, who makes firm each person's steps. Very glad this morning can walk.
Good, okay, and that's important, both literally and figuratively. Others? Yes, okay. Karen, here, microphone.
Okay. Blessed are you, the eternal our God, who opens the eyes of the blind. And I'm the kind of person who always wants people to see and to tell the truth. So I always say there's none so blind as those who will not see.
Yeah.
So God helps people to see.
Beautiful. Others? Family in the front. Anybody want to share? You can have the same one. Well, these are good. Seth or Peggy, do you want to share? Next time. Okay. All right, well, this was good, and you can keep on looking. Don't worry, you don't have to sweat through it. We'll stop. But the idea with this service is that each prayer is intensely personal. Not just something that Annie's leading us in, but is intensely personal. Annie, will you lead us on page 13, responsively, which means that we're all going to join in with the italics.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thinks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit indifference, selfishness, and harshness.
May this synagogue be for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. We are warmed up, we are ready. Let's rise for Baruch, page 15. Here we go. Leolam. Annie, on page 15, you'll lead us in a moment in Yotzer, or our morning prayer, where we celebrate creation through our prayer. And not just the one-time creation that we're here, although that's probably worth celebrating, but this idea that we Jews have, that every morning that we wake up, we have a chance to create ourselves anew. By what we put into the atmosphere around us, we can recreate ourselves, our family, the atmosphere of the home, our community, and through the decisions that we make, how we speak to people, how we walk, how we drive, how we buy, how we vote, that we can change the world around us with decisions each day. We're not locked into what happened yesterday or yesteryear. Every Yotzer Or, every morning, every sunrise, we have a chance to recreate the world around us anew. Annie, will you lead us on page 15?
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Yotzer or uvarei hoshech, oser shalom uvarei et hakol. Hameir le'aretz v'ladarim, alecha berachamim, uvtuvo mekadesh bechol yom tamid maaseh bereshit. Marabu maasecha, Adonai kulam bechochma asita, mala haaretz kinyanecha. Titbarach Adonai Eloheinu al shevach maaseh yadecha, ve'al me'orei or she'asita yefaru hasela. Or hadash al tzion ta'ir benizkeh kulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai Yotzer ham-orot.
Amen. And Annie, on page 16, we have Ahava Rabbah, this idea of God's abundant love for us. And the hope and the thought is that you can feel that abundant love through your everyday interactions if you stop and you look up. So in this moment, if you stop and look up, you see all these amazing people. Go ahead and give her a little wave. All these amazing people who love you, Annie, who love you, who are here because they love you and support you. And not just in these moments, but for your life going forward. And the hope is that you feel God's love for you through your family and community, and the love that you share with them, and they in return reflect back to you. Annie, will you on page 16 lead us in Ahava Rabbah?
Ahava Rabbah ahavtanu, Adonai Eloheinu, hemla gedola v'tera hamalta aleinu. Ba'avur avotenu ve'imotenu, shebathu veha vatlamdem, hukei hayim ken tehonenu utlamdenu. Hamrahem rahem aleinu v'tein belibenu, lehavin ulhaskil, lishmoa lilmod ulamed lishmor v'la'asot, ulkayem et kol divrei Talmud Toratecha be'ahava. Baruch atah Adonai, chaboher be'amo Yisrael be'ahava.
Amen. So now we're going to put our feet on the ground. Make sure that our feet are on the ground. We feel them. And we're getting ready for the Shema. How many times do you think you said the Shema in your life?
A lot.
A lot. Like more than 100?
Yeah.
For sure. Maybe even more than 1,000. This is the central prayer that we Jews have, almost a mantra if we had a mantra. And every time we say it, Annie, we're brought back to a particular weave in time. I would bet that this next time we say the Shema, which is in just a second, will be like no other, and a Shema that you will remember for the rest of your life. Friends, Shema can be found on page 18. Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Please be seated. Annie, your Via Havta prayer is on page 18. This is a prayer which in its body asks the question, when is it that we're supposed to be our very best selves? When is it that we're supposed to be God-oriented? When is it that we're supposed to have Judaism on our mind? And the answer that's in the Via Havta It first seems like a pretty good answer. Well, when you sit down and when you stand up, when you're at home, when you're on the way. In other words, always. Seems like a good answer, but actually, that's a tough answer to follow, because how can you do something always, Annie? How can you always have something mindful and do something mindfully always? It's almost impossible. So we have reminders, and the V'ahavta prayer tells us what these reminders are. Your mezuzah on your door, the Judaica in your home, your Jewish community, your Davis community, your Blue Star community, right? Anytime there is Judaism around, we're reminded that we have a best self that we can be, both as individuals and as a community. Annie, will you lead us in V'ahavta on page 18? Et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uchol nafshecha uvechol me'odecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'lechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha u'shartam me'od al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot b'neinecha u'vtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kiddushim le'Elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lahem Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem. On page 19, we have a responsive reading. I'm going to ask Aubrey Nelms and Sadie Gans and Zoe Gordon to go on up. Keep your masks on, please, for the reading. Go on up to the choir mic, and you're going to lead us in this responsive reading. Whenever you're ready.
Adonai, our God, you took us out of slavery in Egypt. You made us free.
Together, you were in the courage with which we overcame 40 years of desert wandering.
Even today, you are in the hope that, like a beam of light, brightens the darkness of suffering and despair.
You are in the love that creates, protects, forgives. We praise you, Adonai, Redeemer of Israel. Mi Chamocha, page 20. We join in singing what the Israelites proclaimed after they had successfully crossed the sea. And we find in their redemption the strength to seek our own. This struggle carries us into the Amidah, a prayer of becoming, of transformation, of divine human partnership that brings grace into our lives and into our world. Friends, we rise for our Amidah on page 21. When you're ready.
Adonai
Sifatai tiftafu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol v'Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevi Gula Livnei V'Nehem, Leman Shmo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Mashiach U'Magei, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'elam Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol Atah Rav Lechoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Marid HaGashem, Mekakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayeh HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Tomek Noflim Ve'Rofei Cholim, U'Matir Asorim, U'Mekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha B'Gevurot, U'Mido Melach, Melech Memid, U'Mechayeh, U'Matzmeach Yeshua, V'Ne'eman Atah L'Chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechayeh HaKol. Up to the choir mic for our responsive reading on page 23, I'd like to call up Ari Sklar, Sammy and Oliver Strent, and Keegan Stein. If you'll come on up and get nice and close to that mic. So you're going to lead us on our reading on page 23, but you have to step closer to that microphone. Go for it.
Many are the ways of holiness, varied are its paths.
There is holiness when we strive to be true to the best we know.
There is holiness when we are kind to others.
There is holiness when we strive for harmony in all of our relationships.
There is holiness when people of different backgrounds work together for a common future.
There is holiness when people seek justice and struggle for righteousness.
There is holiness when people create lasting poetry or song or philosophy.
There is holiness when we forget what divides us and remember what unites us.
Holy, holy, holy is Adonai our God.
Kedusha, page 24.
מקדישים אותו בשמם ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ואמר
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו.
אדיר אדירנו אדוני אדוננו מדיר שמך בכל הארץ
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו.
אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם,
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור. Hallelujah. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגידה לך. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגידה לך.
ולנצח נצחים נקדיש, קדושתך נקדיש, ושפחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש בעולם ועד. Here comes your part, לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור.
לדור ודור, לדור ודור, נגידה לך. לדור ודור. לדור ודור, לדור ודור.
לדור ודור נגידה לך. כי המלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. כי מלך גדול, גדול וקדוש, גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. Annie, on page 25, would you lead us responsively?
From of old, the Jewish people have seen Shabbat as a unique gift, a token of its covenant with God.
Together, Shabbat is the most cherished creation of the Jewish spirit. It mirrors the essence of the Jewish soul.
Shabbat has never been merely a day of rest from labor. It has always been a break in the routine of everyday life.
Shabbat is a symbol of liberation and triumph, of the holy over the profane, of spirit over matter.
In every age, Shabbat afforded the Jew a sacred retreat, a haven of safety, a fountain of new strength and perpetual renewal.
Shabbat nurtures family life in love and harmony. A home at peace welcomes Shabbat with joy.
Shabbat is part of nature's design, the very purpose of creation. All that was created attained its fulfillment in Shabbat.
Shabbat is our hope, the calm haven where all the weary find rest. With the coming of Shabbat, redemption and peace enter the world. Yismechu, page 26. Shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malchutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat v'koreh, oneg Shabbat.
מקדשי תביא שבת, כולם יספרו ויתענגו מטובך השבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת.
ובשיר רצית בו קידשת שבת. קרבת שבת.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת וקורא עונג שבת. Shomrei, 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 Shabbat, morek, oneg Shabbat.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי, שומרי, שומרי שבת, וקורא עונג שבת.
Molly, if you'll come on up, and on page 27, if you'll lead us in our reading.
Our world is full of wonders and miracles, but all it takes is one little hand placed before our eyes and we see nothing.
But miracles are all around us and within us. We are each walking miracles.
When we are bruised, what miracle heals us? When we see beauty, what miracle elevates us? When we hear music, what miracle moves us?
When we see suffering, what miracle saddens us? When we give and receive love, what miracle warms us? When we pray, what miracle renews us?
Every springtime is a miracle. Every snowflake is a miracle. The thoughts we think, the words we speak, the hopes we cherish, each is a miracle.
For all these miracles, may your name be exalted and blessed forever and ever. On page 28, I'll invite up Alana Diamond and Ava Walensky.
Help us to find the peace that comes from the love of your Torah.
Inspire us to banish hatred, war, bloodshed, and bigotry. Help us to establish forever one human family, doing your will in love and peace.
Help us to find peace in ourselves and among all people. O God of peace, bless us with peace.
You have given us the power, O God, to bring peace and justice into the world. May we always love peace and pursue it, and love our fellow creatures. Fill us with kindness, wisdom, and love. Then shall we learn to live in peace. Blessed is God, teacher of peace. Page 28, Sim Shalom. Sim Shalom, Tova Uvracha. Encourage everyone to take a moment for your silent prayer, silent meditation, silent communion. Get your volume up.
Shalom b'Rama. Say shalom aleinu. Be'yakol Yisrael. Be'imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'yakol Yisrael.
Seth and Peggy, on page 31, we have the parent blessing. This is a mashup, an amalgamation from different pieces of the Talmud, where our sages, who are also parents, were delivering words to their children of the next generation. Would you deliver those words to your daughter?
May you live to see your world fulfilled. May your destiny be for worlds still to come. And may you trust in generations past and yet to be.
May your heart be filled with intuition, and your words be filled with insight. May songs of praise ever be upon your tongue, and your vision be on a straight path before you.
May your eyes shine with the light of holy words, and your face reflect the brightness of the heavens. May your lips ever speak wisdom, and your fulfillment be in righteousness.
A Jewish home opens its heart, and its link to the generations is proclaimed. Today, our child, nearly grown, is called to read from the Torah and is welcomed into the congregation. May this moment be blessed.
Amen, amen. And so, friends, we are getting ready here in just a moment to begin our Torah service. But if we could, so that we sort of line through to Grandpa Irving, if Arlene Marcus and then Jeannie and Mark Stein will come on up towards those choir mics for our Generations of Torah. And if the congregation, you can do it now, yep. If the congregation will please rise, we're on the bottom of page 32. Ki mitzion
Tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion Tetzei Torah, Udevar Adonai, Mirushalayim, Baruch Shenatan, Torah, Torah, Baruch Shenatan, Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'Kedushato.
Still a little early, didn't you?
We're a little ahead of ourselves up here.
My bad.
Hard to pass that way, huh? Well, while he's getting that on there, Annie. Hi. You're doing a beautiful job at leading us this morning.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And as you're going to soon hold that Torah as it is passed from generation to generation, we, of course, recognize those loving grandparents and great-grandparent who is here celebrating you. And we think about Grandpa Steve Marcus, who is celebrating with us in spirit, of course. And Annie, I want you to look just past Great-Grandpa's shoulder, and then past the next shoulder. Keep looking over there. And the next shoulder, and the next shoulder. And what you're seeing, I hope right now, is imagine all of the people who had to exist for you to be able to stand with us today in this very moment. We okay?
Yep.
And so for us to do that, we're going to need, in a minute, you're going to have the chance to hold it. And the weight of our Torah is a little heavy. And it's meant to be that way, because to carry on our tradition means so much, to read these sacred words that have been read for 1,000, maybe 2,000 years. And it's you who carries that tradition on for us today, not just in any Torah portion either. You start us over with Bereshit, a wonderful portion to kick off this new year and a bat mitzvah here in our sanctuary. So, friends, we continue on page 33. Seth, you want to pick up that Torah. And we're going to have him go down.
What's that?
Go down or no? Like with the Torah?
To bring it down?
Yeah.
Sure.
We're going to have the chance here to pass our Torah down.
I'll take this from you for a second. Okay.
Literally through the generations. It's rare that we have this special opportunity from great-grandfather.
Got it. Okay.
To loving grandparents. And down through loving. And so that Molly, now you have the chance to, oh, I did it. I was going to try so hard not to do that today. Annie, now you are going to, I knew it was going to happen too. Annie, you are now going to take that Torah from your dad as the next generation in your family. Page 33. Good? All right. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai Iti, Uneromema Shemo Yachdav. Now you may undress the Torah. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagevura hatiferet v'hanetzach v'hahod ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz ki chol b'shamayim u'va'aretz lecha Adonai hamamlacha v'yamid nafshei lechol erosh.
Please be seated. A word as Annie gets ready to chant. No matter how many bar or bat mitzvahs you've been in, whether this is your first or 10th or 100th or more, please don't forget how hard what she's about to do is, which is chanting in the original, from the scroll, with no vowels or cantillation marks, a process which has taken a tremendous amount of time and effort on her part and her community's, and we're talking about not months but years. So this today is a celebration of your learning and your coming into being and leading us as a congregation, Annie.
And so, for your first aliyah, well, actually before that, friends, we are on page 18 of our plout. That is our Torah Commentary, which can be found under your chair. It's the bigger of the two blue navy books, because of course they couldn't make it a different color. All right, so we're on page 18 as we begin again for Breshit, and our blessings for before the reading of the Torah are going to be found on page 34. And for our first aliyah, I would love the chance to call forward Mira Marcus, Amy, and Craig Straight. Ya'amdu, Miriam Aviva, Bat Ezra Shalom, Esther, Hannah Bat Moshe Shoshana, Yaakov Ben Yoel Veruchel, Le'aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Hamavrach Le'olam Va'ed. Amen.
Amen. V'ha'adam yada et hava ishto, v'tahar v'taled et Kain, v'tomer kiniti ish et Adonai, v'tosef laledet et ahiv et hevel, v'yahi hevel ro'et son v'Kain, haya oved adama. Vayahi miketz yamim, vayave Kain miperi hadama, min hale Adonai.
Amen. Beautiful. And friends, we started, from chapter 4. She just chanted for us verses 1 through 3, and her next one will begin at verse 4. So that's chapter 4, verse 4. And now our blessing for after the reading. Amen. Wonderful, thank you. And for our second aliyah, we call forward Arlene Marcus, Jeannie and Mark Stein to the microphone. Ya'amdu Esther bat Yitzhak ve'Eka Devorah, Shoshana bat Yaakov ve'Chana, Moshe ben Yisrael ve'Rivka, le'aliyah. Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Olam Asher B'charenu Mikol Hamim V'nasan Lanu Es Torah. Baruch Atah Adonai Nosein HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'hevel hevi gam hu. Mi behorot sono umehel vehen, vayisha Adonai el hevel ve'el min hato, ve'el Kain ve'el min hato lo sha'a, vayihar l'Kain me'od, vayipelu panav, vayomer Adonai el Kain,
beautiful. And our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu b'esdaso asher
V'chayei olam.
Baruch atah Adonai nosein haTorah.
Amen.
Beautiful.
Give her some air hugs and kisses.
Yes. Send all those good vibes. And please have a seat as we call not so far forward to the bima for our third aliyah, although I guess Molly, you have to walk. Proud parents and sister, Peggy and Seth Marcus, and of course Molly Marcus. Ya'amdu Leah bat Moshe v'Shoshana Shlomo Baruch ben Ezra Shalom ve'Esther Ilana Bracha bat Shlomo Baruch ve'Leah la'aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamavarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Hello, im tetiv se'et ve'im lo tetiv la petachat rovetz ve'eleha teshu kata ve'ata tim shobo vayomer kain el hevel ahiv vayahi bihyotam basadeh vayakom kain el hevel ahiv ve'yahargehu vayomer Adonai el kain hevel ahiha vayomer lo yadati hashomer ahi Anohi.
Hey, nicely done.
All right, our blessing for after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. All right, hug, hug, kiss, kiss, because you're right there. No hugs, no kisses? Give your parents a hug and kiss. There you go. Thank you. All right. So Annie, go ahead and have a seat for a moment. Leave your yad on your, did you get it on the last word? Yeah. All right, perfect. Good seat placement so I can see you. So Annie, in just a moment, we're going to call you forward for an aliyah. Aliyah meaning to literally go up. And that's why we have you sit down, because you're already up there. So now you're going to move from sitting to going up to our bima for an aliyah l'Torah. And this is that big moment. This is when you become bat mitzvah. You've led us so beautifully up to this point in our service with confidence and grace. And now you have this chance to honor yourself, to honor our community, and to bring honor to God as you chant your fourth aliyah. Ta'amud Adira Esther bat Shlomo Baruch v'Leah la'aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Habarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayomer me'asita kol demei ahiha soakim elai min ha'adama ve'ata arur ata min ha'adama asher pateta et hiha lakahat et demei ahiha miyadeha ki tavod et ha'adama lo tosef tet koha lach navana tihiyeva aretz.
Beautiful.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. All right. right, so if everyone can sort, oh yeah, hug, hug, kiss, kiss. Lots of those, lots of those. And one more. Perfect. And now, if, let's see, Seth and Peggy, if you will flank Annie. Molly, you can stay up there. I guess on either side, And Molly next to Mom too. Little wraparound of the arms here. Because right now we have before us, of course, the sacred Torah, which you have just chanted for us. And so there's said to be an extra energy, an extra healing power when we call for healing and when we call for strength and we call for spiritual growth. All of these things are amplified when we have the chance to do them during a Torah service. And so this is one of those special ones, Annie, where we offer a Misha Berach for being bat mitzvah, for your continued spiritual growth. Misha Berach avotenu v'imotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah, hu yevarech et, Adiras Esther, bat Shlomo, Baruch, v'Leah. Shehigia lemitzvot, v'alta la Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishmereha v'chayecha, v'honen et liba, v'hot shalem im Adonai Elohav, lahagot b'torato lechet bidrachav, v'lishmor mitzvotav, v'timsei chen v'seichel tov, v'idei Elohim v'adam v'nomar. Amen. All of that is to say, and may God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless you, Annie, who has come for an aliyah upon the age of mitzvot. May the Holy One guard you and sustain you, helping you to be wholehearted in your faith, studying God's Torah and walking in God's ways, and fulfilling God's mitzvot. May you find favor before God and all people, and let us say,
Amen.
Amen. Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. All right, and if we'll go ahead and lay our cover just on top of our Torah. And Annie, if you'd like to get out your Devar Torah to share with us some words of wisdom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My Torah portion is Bereshit from the book of Genesis. This parsha begins when God created heaven and earth. He then created man and woman, or Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve both had two children, Cain and Abel. Cain was a farmer and Abel was a shepherd. One day, Cain and Abel both brought offerings to God. While God accepted Abel's offering, he did not accept Cain's. I think this is because Abel sacrificed the best of his flock, but Cain did not bring the best of his harvest. Cain became super angry and jealous that God liked Abel's offering better than his. God saw that Cain was angry and told Cain that he needed to be happier or sin would follow him and ruin his life. But Cain's rage overtook his mind. He lost control of his actions and then he killed his brother. When God asked Cain where his brother was, Cain responded by saying, "How should I know? Am I my brother's keeper?" But of course, God already knew what Cain had done and punished him by making him a rootless wanderer, someone who is alone, lonely, without a home, without a family, and without a community. That's a pretty bad punishment. Anyway, back to the story. Cain left Eden and lived in a place called the land of nomads. He found a wife and they had a son named Enoch. No, not Harold Enoch. Finally, Adam had another son to replace Abel named Seth. No, not Seth Marcus, but we love him too. This story teaches me that even if something comes between two siblings, you should always take care of them no matter what. We are taught to take care of our siblings starting as little kids. But as we grow older, we learn to also take care of our outer core, including our extended family, friends, and teachers. And now that I've become a teenager, I have realized that I am also responsible for taking care of the greater community, including people I don't even know. You may think this is all I have to say about my parsha, But lucky for you guys, you get to listen to me for a whole nother lesson. When I read this parsha, I had to step back and ask myself, who's really responsible for Abel's death? Is it Cain, or could it actually be God? On one hand, we have Cain, who could have put more effort with his sacrifice in the first place. And then, after knowing God was unhappy, he should have advocated for himself and opened his mind to learn from God how to do it better rather than give up, get angry, and act out in a really bad way. On the other hand, we have God, who dismisses Cain when he brings God an unfit sacrifice. We all know that Cain could have done better, but God sent Cain away without explaining what he did wrong, and this is what made Cain so mad that he could kill his own brother. Today, kids have similar problems. Sometimes they are sent to their rooms without understanding why. It is the parent's job to explain to their child what they did wrong and why they are being sent away. To bring it back to Torah talk, this is not what God did. God did not teach Cain how to improve his sacrifice skills or why he was being sent away. Instead, he did the opposite. But maybe I should give God a little slack here, because the truth is, this is God's first time being a grandparent, so they might not do everything right the first time. This is also my parents' first time being parents, and they definitely didn't do everything right the first time. Just ask Molly. But they've gotten better as they've grown way older. Anyway, in the end, I think that Cain and God both bear responsibility for Abel's death. The world can learn from this story. If every country took care of one another, like siblings should take care of each other, then we would not need borders or fences. Everyone would feel safe around each other. Everyone in the world should be each other's keepers, just like how it is my responsibility to take care of my own sister, my friends, and my community. This is a reminder to me that I will continue to help my community as I become a Jewish young adult today. This brings me to a perfect time to talk about my bat mitzvah project. For my bat mitzvah project, I assembled bags of food and included a nice note. Now I can hand them out when I see someone less fortunate. I started this project long before my bat mitzvah, and I plan to continue this project moving forward. Just like siblings should take care of one another all the time, we should all do the same for our community. Being part of a Jewish community is important to me because it is my hometown and everyone around me is somehow a part of my life. Now that I have become a bat mitzvah, I plan to participate in more Shabbat services, take more responsibility for what I do, and help others who need it. This is the Jewish value that is most important to me. By being part of a kahila through both Davis and the synagogue, we are able to come together during the highs and lows of life. During my trip to Israel, I saw firsthand how a kahila comes together on Friday nights at the Western Wall. I do wish, though, that boys and girls could be on the same side, but watching everyone welcome Shabbat together reminded me that we are all one. Hold on. There are many special people in my life that have shaped me to become the person who I am today. To start off, Gaga and Papa, thank you for teaching me many Jewish traditions. I especially love the Rosh Hashanah retreat and the Passover Seder. Papa, since COVID, I have always loved seeing your punim on Shabbat Friday night Zoom. Gaga, I have always loved baking with you, even if it doesn't turn out right. I love you both so much. Nana, thank you so much for always encouraging me to try new things. Thank you for coming to all of my long dance and gymnastics competitions and always coming to Grandparents' Day at school. Thanks for teaching me that the best cherry water is the best drink in the whole wide world. Poppy, although you aren't here with us today, thank you for making me try some good but some disgusting foods. Also, I loved all of your life stories at the side of the pool at the beach. I love you and miss you so much. Thank you both for the amazing Israel trip that I will never forget. I love you. Molly, as I have said many times before, you are the best sister I could ever ask for. All of the late nights together, time in Mom and Dad's room, and so many hours alone together during COVID have really made our bond so much stronger. I'm so glad that you are short too, so I'm not the only short one in the family. I love how hard we laugh together. As Mom always says, don't say the word stop. But I'm telling you, you will never stop being the best sister ever. I love you. Mom, thank you for everything. That's the only way I can put it, because you have been by my side since the second I was born until the moment I am up here right now. From putting me to bed when I was younger, teaching me my right from wrong, and manners, that's a big one, are a few things that have shaped me into who I am today. I love playing board games, going to the lake, and just chit-chatting with you. Although hearing the words, study for your bat mitzvah, got really annoying, it definitely helped me get to this day. I love you. Dad, I think I can also start the same way as I did for Mom. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the laughter, awesome presents on Hanukkah, and just thank you for being my dad. I couldn't have asked for a better dad. You playing games with me, taking me to all of my sporting events, and driving the boat for me at the lake. Honestly, I have no idea what I would do without you. You teach me so many lessons specifically on how to be a good person. Like I always say to you, and you say it back to me, I love you to the moon and back. Lastly, thank you to Rabbi Spike, Rabbi Max, Rabbi Rachel, and Cantor Adesnik for your help and guidance along the way. I would also like to thank Mrs. Joanne, my amazing tutor, for making learning my Torah portion so fun and enjoyable. And to the rest of my family and all of my friends, thank you for all of your love and support. I love you all. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Wow, Annie, there is no doubt in my mind that we just heard from a young woman. That was excellent, and your poise and wisdom and advice and insight is tremendous. The piece of your Devar Torah which really struck me is you're essentially putting God on trial a little bit. You're saying, hey, we can certainly blame Cain, but maybe God had something to do with that. And that tendency doesn't come in a vacuum. We Jews have been speaking truth to power since time began as we know it. And in our tradition, we're allowed to question God's role and things and put God on the line. Because if we can do that with God, then we can do that with anybody. So very Jewish the way that you just put God on trial there like that, and gave God a little bit of slack. And I think God probably appreciates that, and we do as well. Friends, our Haftarah is from the prophet Isaiah, and you'll find that in your blue book on page 320. Isaiah was one of our prophets who was with us when we were in exile. This is the Babylonian exile, post 586 BCE. This was a tough time for us, for we Jews. And in the Haftarah, essentially Isaiah is saying, look, the same God who creates the heavens and the earth is also the master of history. And even if things don't seem great at a particular moment, this particular moment, stick with it, stay with each other, have faith in yourself and the people around you, connect back to the divine, and things will return to the way that they ought to be, that they should be. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but they will. But it takes perseverance, it takes grit, and it takes faith. Annie, will you lead us in our Torah blessings on page 36 and 37?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim be'atzah v'divreihem hane'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nvi'ei ha'emet v'tzedek. Kol hanikra bishmi belifvodi berativ yitzartiv achvasitiv hotzi am iver be'einayim yesh behershim be'eznayim lamo kol hagoim ikbetzu yachdav ve'yasfu le'umim mi'ibahem yagizot berishonot Yashmi'unu, Yitnu Eidehem, Vayitdaku, Vayishme'u, Vayomru Emet. Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, Sur kol ha'alomim, Tzadik bechol ha'darot, Ha'el ha'ne'eman, Ha'omer ve'oseh, Ha'medaber u'mkayem, Shechol devarav emet v'tzedek, Al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah, Ve'al ha'nevi'im, Ve'al yom ha'shabbat hazeh, Shenatata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Likdusha ve'limnuha, Lechavod u'tif'aret, Al ha'kol, Adonai Eloheinu, Anachnu modim lach, U'mevarchim otach, Yitbarach shimcha befi kol hai, Tamid le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Hu, Baruch Shema.
Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen. Friends, Eitz Chaim, page 39, we rise.
Eitz Chaim hi
Lamakazikim ba, vetomcha meusha,
derachecha, darchenawa, v'chol netivotecha,
shalom.
Hashivenu Adonai, Elecha v'nashuva, Chadesh, Chadesh Yameinu, Chadesh Yameinu, Kekedem.
Please be seated. So Annie, Rabbi Rachel and I have said this before, but of all the things that we get to do as rabbis here at Temple Emanu-El, what we've been doing with you for the last many months is our most favorite thing, and that is getting to know you on a deep level, pretty deep level, and also studying Torah Lishma, study for the sake of higher thought and higher thinking. You, Annie, have this incredible energy and humor and a wonderful sense of or balance between being silly but also being serious when you need to be, and that is a great combination. I was really laughing last night when your dad sent me the video of you chanting your Torah up there and dancing around, and I think it's going to stick with me for a while. And actually that's emblematic of maybe who you are. You led us beautifully this morning. I mean it, beautifully. Your poise, your grace, your presence, your confidence, and not only in how you stand and your voice, but what you say. You had something to say. But you're also a young woman who is not afraid to have fun, not afraid to lighten the mood, and in doing so, you bring sunshine and energy into not just this sanctuary, Dayenu, but every room that you go into. You are someone who we want around. I think who everybody wants around, meaning that you make our lives better just by being a part of it. I love the challenge that you put forward in your Devar Torah. That was not just clever, it was courageous. It was bold to be able to call God to task, to question. And my hope is that combination of your seriousness and your ability to make light, but also the courage that you clearly are exhibiting, and questioning when things don't seem right, or speaking truth to power, or perhaps standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves, that you'll continue with that this is a spark that keeps going. I'm picturing you pulling up to homeless people on the side of the road and giving them these bags with things in it, right? Things that they clearly need. Clearly, this is you living your Torah. Am I my brother's keeper? Yes, I am. If you can pull up and you can help them. And these are folks who are part of your, I guess, greater community, but you don't know them. They're strangers. And yet you are taking care of them very much in the tradition of Jews watching out not just for each other, but for everyone around them to the best of our abilities. So my hope and my prayer and my wish for you, Annie, is that you keep going with this. Clearly you've tapped into something through this process that really speaks to you and who you are, the most authentic you. And my hope is that you take this and you let it grow, and you lead with it, and you rely on it. And if you get lost, you come back to it. And when you're ready, you push forward off of it to go to the places that you're going to go, and you take us with you.
Every time.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's the advantage
I was
of going
like,
first.
the next thing, I'm gonna, oh, he said that one.
All right.
So let's see. Andy, you're such an incredible person, and Rabbi Spike, I think, covered most of it. So I'll lean into that lesson piece and the questioning and the saying that even if somebody is in authority, God being probably one of the most authoritative figures we might have in our own lives, that just because they are in charge doesn't mean everything is right. And Annie, I love that you're willing to challenge that, at least in Torah. Now, I don't know how much you're challenging it in real life. And I think that too is your task, that, you know, being a teenage girl isn't easy, it's a lot of fun, but it gets really hard at times. And as you grow older, you are, I'm pretty sure in your friend group, one of the leaders. People want to know what Annie's doing. How did Annie respond to what's happening? What advice can Annie give me? And so Annie, use this Judaism, use this loving family that you have, use this synagogue as a way to keep you grounded, both in the amazing celebrations like we are here today, and when times get tough. We're here for you, and we are honored that you've been here for us this morning.
So now we get to bless you in the ways that our rabbis have been doing since the beginning of time as we know it with the priestly benediction. I'll ask everyone to rise, please.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's countenance shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yis Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom.
May God's face turn toward you, Annie, and grant you with the greatest gift of all, what you have right now. Your feet firmly on the ground, surrounded by all this love, supported and held up by your tradition, your whole world ahead of you, every opportunity, a sense of wholeness, completeness, and peace. And we all say,
Amen.
Amen. Would everyone please be seated, unless you are Annie's parents, and then come on up.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. She steps onto the stage all by herself. The spotlight turns on, the music starts, and she begins to dance. She is courageous, she is confident, and she is determined. Balancing power and grace, her movements take your breath away. You watch and you listen as she tells you a story. It's a story about resilience, reinventing oneself, and excelling at something exceptional. It's inspiring, and boy, is it powerful. Somehow, in the blink of an eye, I realize that I have become an official dance dad. Annie Leo, here we are again in this same special place where you are now the fourth of our extended family to become a bar or bat mitzvah on this same bima. Welcome to the club. Only this time, it's different, because this time, we are all here for you. You did this, not as a little sister or as our youngest daughter, but as Annie Marcus, a strong, independent, and confident young Jewish woman. God help me, now that I have 3 strong, independent, and confident Jewish women living with me. You've made us proud plenty of times before, Annie, but never like today. Because today you stood here on your own 2 feet and you conquered this challenge. Today you found your voice, your own voice, and nothing makes us more proud. Annie, your Torah portion could not have been more perfect for you. Are you your brother's keeper? You don't have to answer that because you don't have a brother, except for Mikey. But are you your sisters and your families and your community's keeper? Well, that's an easy one. I think we can all answer this with an absolute yes. Because taking care of people is what Annie Marcus does. This is your calling. It's what makes you special and where you shine the brightest. You have the most wonderful gift of all, Annie, the gift of empathy. And you have it like we've never seen before. You see people's emotions and you feel it down to your core. Whether it's a man without a home asking for help, a friend going through a hard time, or a parent struggling with loss, you are there to help. The letters you write to your doctors, your friends, and in your care packages for the homeless are heartfelt and they are genuine. You touch people with your words and you make them feel connected. You, Annie Marcus, are going to change this world one lucky person at a time. But those of us who know Annie know her to be, well, one of a kind. Headstrong, self-determined, and passionate in your ideals, you continue to teach us a different way of seeing the world. There's a saying that Papa Stein once told us that goes, try not to make your kids like yourself, but try to be more like your kids. And over the years, Annie, this is exactly what you've been teaching us. You teach us to wonder, to be inquisitive, and to ask questions until it makes sense. You teach us to fight for who and what we believe in, that by advocating for yourself and standing your ground, you can be both small and powerful at the same time. And you teach us to let go. Okay, full disclosure, we're still working on this one. In fact, we're not really sure how you do it living in a house with 3 of the most type A people in the world. But despite this, you teach us to loosen up, take a break, and live in the moment. You remind us that life is supposed to be fun and not always about work or with an agenda. Because you're right. Family board games, night swims, and watching shows are a whole lot more fun than making your bed, putting the dishes away, or studying for a test that's 2 weeks from now. Finally, you teach us to always remember those we have lost. It's during times like these that we miss them the most. I too wish more than anything that Poppy were here today to see you shine on this bima that he loved so much. But he is here within these walls, and he is so super proud of you. To wrap things up, Peggy and I want to take a minute to thank all the people who made today happen. Thank you to Miss Joanne and our amazing clergy for coaching Annie through this, and even more so for hanging with the Marcus fam twice over the past 5 months. Thank you to our family for once again traveling to Atlanta during this same pandemic, and to all of you for joining us physically and virtually this morning. But most of all, thank you, Annie, for brightening our days, bringing laughter to our family, and for making us so incredibly proud to be your parents. Annie Marcus, we love you more than you will ever know.
Hug, hug, kiss, kiss. And then Molly, if you will join them, and I'll invite you all to head to the Ark. Kahal, congregation, I'll invite us to rise, please. Page 40, Aleinu l'Shabbat. Go ahead. Aleinu l'Shabbat l'Adon HaKol, L'Teit Gidula L'Yotzer Breshit, Shelo asanu k'gilye haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu kor'im, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar, v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol ha'aretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. You may be seated. And Marcus family, I'll invite you to just all go up to our amudim together. And friends, we've reached the point in our service where we bring into the space the memories of loved ones who have died in recent days and seasons past. We imagine them surrounding us as the best version of themselves. They're smiling, and they are so proud. The Marcus family is especially thinking of Steve Marcus, Helen Lipsky, Jack and Harriet Liebman, Morris and Ruth Marcus, Ruth and Irving Stein. If on this Shabbat you are in the first 30 days mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to please rise. If you are in the first year mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to please rise. And if on this Shabbat you are commemorating a yahrzeit, a death anniversary of a loved one, I invite you to please rise. And if it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, as it is here at Temple Emanu-El, we invite you to do so now. Our prayer can be found on page 41. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayachon uvyomechon, uv'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru. Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shmei d'kudesha parichu, le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, ta'amiran be'alma v'imru.
Amen.
Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Friends, before we do our Siman Tov U'Mazel Tov, we have the chance to, of course, do Kiddush and our blessing over our challah as well. So if one of you will pick up our Kiddush cup, the big one should go to Annie. A little Vishamru to get there. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat, la'aseh et HaShabbat. We'll do that one more time. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et olam. Hold it up nice and high. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Shabbat shalom. Take a sip. Was that a fake sip? And if we will do a little wala chala to get our challah out. All right, hold it up as well. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tov, siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tova, mazel tova, mazel tova, siman tova. Hey lanu, yehei lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Yehei lanu, uvechol Yisrael. Mazel tov, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.